Do you remember what it felt like to sleep deeply, to close your eyes and simply drift, and wake up hours later feeling genuinely rested, restored, ready for the day in a way that felt natural and easy? For many people over 50, that kind of sleep starts to feel like a distant memory. You might find yourself lying awake in the small hours, mind turning over things that seemed manageable during the day, or waking at 3 or 4 in the morning and simply not being able to return to sleep, or drifting off without difficulty, but waking after 5 or 6 hours feeling like you never really went deep. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know this is one of the most common experiences that older adults describe. You are not alone in it, and you are not imagining it. Sleep genuinely changes as we age, and understanding why that happens is the first step toward doing something meaningful about it. Today, we're going to talk about a handful of simple, warm bedtime drinks that research suggests may support deeper, more restful sleep in adults over 50. Not pills, not complicated protocols, just gentle, natural beverages that you can prepare in your own kitchen, and that a growing body of science finds genuinely interesting for sleep support. Before we go any further, I want to be clear. I'm sharing this for educational purposes only. Please speak with your doctor or healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. If sleep problems are significantly affecting your quality of life, that's a conversation that deserves professional attention, and there are effective approaches your doctor can offer. What we're discussing today is meant to complement good care, not replace it. This is a conversation for anyone over 50 who wants to sleep better, for older adults who've tried everything and are still searching, for caregivers who watch a loved one struggle through restless nights, and for anyone who believes, as I do, that a good night's sleep is one of the most important gifts we can give our aging bodies. Let me begin with a little context, because I think understanding what's actually happening with sleep as we age makes everything else feel less mysterious and more manageable. Sleep is not a passive state. It's an active, complex, biological process. One of the most important things the body does. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories and clears out waste products that accumulate during waking hours. The immune system does much of its repair work. Hormones are regulated, tissues are restored. The heart rate and blood pressure drop to their resting levels, giving the cardiovascular system a genuine rest. All of this matters, and research consistently finds that the quality and quantity of sleep we get has profound effects on virtually every aspect of health. Cognitive function, emotional well-being, immune resilience, metabolic health, and even how the body manages pain and inflammation. So when sleep changes with age, as it does for most people, the effects are felt widely, and those changes are real. Research suggests several things happen to sleep architecture as we get older. The amount of deep, restorative, slow-wave sleep tends to decrease. The sleep cycle becomes lighter and more fragmented. The body's internal clock, the circadian rhythm, tends to shift earlier, which is why many older adults find themselves sleepy earlier in the evening and awake earlier in the morning. And the production of melatonin, which is the hormone the brain uses to signal that it's time to sleep, naturally declines with age. None of this is inevitable in its most severe form, and none of it means that good sleep is out of reach. What it does mean is that the conditions we create for sleep, the routines, the environment, and yes, what we drink in the hour before bed, may matter more than they once did. The first drink I want to talk about is one that has been associated with sleep and relaxation for centuries, and whose reputation modern research is now beginning to validate. Warm milk, I know. It might sound old-fashioned. It might remind you of childhood, of a parent or grandparent bringing you a warm cup when you couldn't sleep. And there's a reason that tradition existed across so many cultures and so many generations. Milk contains an amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan is a building block the body uses to produce serotonin, a neurotransmitter that influences mood and calm, and melatonin, the sleep hormone. Research suggests that consuming tryptophan-containing foods in the evening may support the body's natural melatonin production and may help prepare the brain for sleep. Studies have also found that milk contains small proteins called bioactive peptides, compounds that may have a mild calming effect on the nervous system. Some research has specifically looked at a peptide in warm milk called casein tryptic hydrolysate, which animal and early human studies suggest may reduce the time it takes to fall asleep and may support sleep quality. The warmth of the drink itself also matters. Holding something warm, sipping slowly, feeling the heat travel down. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's rest and digest mode. It's the opposite of the fight-or-flight response. It signals the body that the day is over, that it's safe to wind down. Whole milk or semi-skimmed both work. You can add a small pinch of nutmeg, which has a long traditional association with sleep support and a gentle, pleasant flavor. Or a tiny amount of honey, which some research suggests may support overnight melatonin availability. Warm it gently on the stove or in the microwave, just to the point of comfortable sipping, not boiling. And sit with it quietly, away from screens, for 10 or 15 minutes before bed. If dairy doesn't suit you, warm oat milk is a reasonable alternative. It also contains some tryptophan and has a naturally mild, slightly sweet flavor that many people find soothing. The second drink is one with a particularly strong evidence base for sleep support, and one that may surprise you with how accessible it is. Tart cherry juice, diluted with water and served warm or at room temperature. Tart cherries, the variety used for juice, as distinct from the sweet cherries eaten fresh, are one of the few foods that contain naturally occurring melatonin. Not in enormous quantities, but in amounts that researchers have found to be measurably relevant to sleep. Several studies have specifically looked at tart cherry juice and sleep in older adults, which is a particularly meaningful subset of the research, because much nutrition research focuses on younger populations. Studies published in journals, including the European Journal of Nutrition, have found that older adults who drank tart cherry juice in the evenings showed improvements in sleep duration, sleep efficiency, and the time it took to fall asleep compared to those who didn't. Research also suggests that tart cherries are rich in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds, including anthocyanins, the same family of plant pigments we discussed in relation to berries. Some researchers have proposed that the anti-inflammatory effect of these compounds may contribute to sleep quality by reducing the low-level inflammatory signaling that can disrupt sleep architecture. Tart cherry juice is available in most health food stores and many supermarkets. Look for pure tart cherry juice without added sugar and dilute it with water before drinking, as it's quite concentrated. A small glass, perhaps a third of a cup of juice topped up with water, is what most of the research studies have used. Some people find tart cherry juice quite sharp in flavor. Adding it to warm water with a small amount of honey softens the taste considerably and transforms it into something that feels genuinely like a bedtime ritual rather than a medicine. The third drink is one whose association with calm and sleep stretches back thousands of years, and whose active compounds have now been studied in clinical settings. Chamomile tea. Chamomile is one of the most widely consumed herbal teas in the world, and its reputation as a sleep and relaxation aid is not merely tradition. It has biological basis. Chamomile contains a compound called apigenin, which binds to certain receptors in the brain that are associated with reducing anxiety and inducing calm. Research suggests that apigenin may act similarly, though much more gently, to some compounds used in pharmaceutical relaxation medications, without the dependency or side effects. Several clinical studies have looked at chamomile and sleep in older adults specifically. A study published in the journal Complementary Therapies in Medicine found that elderly residents who consumed chamomile extract showed significantly improved sleep quality compared to those who didn't, with better scores on measures of both falling asleep and staying asleep. Another study looked specifically at postmenopausal women, a group that often experiences significant sleep disruption, and found that chamomile tea consumption was associated with improved sleep quality and a reduction in the fatigue and mood disturbance that often accompanies poor sleep in this population. Chamomile tea is also one of the gentlest options available for older adults taking multiple medications, as it has relatively few known interactions. Though, as with anything, it's worth mentioning to your doctor or pharmacist if you take blood thinners or other medications that might interact. Brew a good quality chamomile tea, ideally loose leaf or from a reputable brand, for 5 to 10 minutes to allow the active compounds to fully release. A small amount of honey can be added if you prefer a touch of sweetness. Drink it slowly, perhaps while reading or sitting quietly, about 30 to 45 minutes before you intend to sleep. The fourth drink brings together two of the most well-researched sleep-supportive natural ingredients in one warm, fragrant cup. Warm golden milk, which is simply warm milk with turmeric, a little ginger, and optionally, a pinch of black pepper and a touch of honey. We've talked in previous conversations about turmeric and its active compound curcumin, which research suggests has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. In the context of sleep, those properties matter in a specific way. Research has found that chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that builds quietly over years and is more common in older adults, can disrupt sleep architecture. It can interfere with the deep, restorative stages of sleep and contribute to the fragmented, lighter sleep that many older adults experience. Studies have found that curcumin may help reduce certain inflammatory markers in the body, and some researchers have proposed that this anti-inflammatory effect may support better sleep quality over time. Ginger, as we've discussed, also has anti-inflammatory properties, and it adds a gentle warmth and digestive ease to the drink that many people find helps the body settle for the night. If digestion is something that interferes with your sleep, if you find yourself uncomfortable in the stomach during the night, ginger may be particularly helpful in a bedtime drink. The combination of warm milk with these gentle spices creates a drink that works on multiple levels. The tryptophan in the milk, the anti-inflammatory compounds in the turmeric and ginger, the warmth that signals the nervous system to relax, and the ritual of preparation itself. The stirring, the smelling, the sitting down with something warm in your hands. All of which send the body signals that the day is ending and rest is near. To make it, warm a cup of milk gently, whisk in half a teaspoon of turmeric, a small pinch of ginger, fresh or dried, a tiny pinch of black pepper, which research suggests increases the absorption of curcumin, and a small amount of honey, if desired. It has a beautiful golden color and a warm, earthy, slightly sweet flavor that many people find genuinely appealing once they try it a few times. The fifth drink is one whose connection to sleep may be the most surprising of all. Warm water with magnesium-rich additions, specifically a small glass of warm water in which you've dissolved a teaspoon of blackstrap molasses, which is one of the most concentrated food sources of dietary magnesium available. Magnesium is a mineral that plays a crucial role in the nervous system's ability to calm itself. Research has found that magnesium is involved in regulating the neurotransmitters that quieten nerve activity and in supporting the production of melatonin. Studies have found that older adults are disproportionately likely to be mildly deficient in magnesium, partly because absorption decreases with age, and partly because many older adults eat less overall. Research suggests that magnesium deficiency is associated with poorer sleep quality, more nighttime awakenings, and reduced levels of melatonin. And conversely, studies have found that supplementing or increasing dietary magnesium in older adults may support longer sleep time, better sleep efficiency, and earlier melatonin onset. Blackstrap molasses, unlike regular molasses or golden syrup, is the richest form of molasses and contains a meaningful amount of magnesium per teaspoon, along with calcium and other minerals. It has a strong, bittersweet flavor that not everyone loves immediately, but many people find it grows on them. Dissolved in a small cup of warm water, it becomes a simple, humble, inexpensive bedtime drink. If the flavor of blackstrap molasses is genuinely unappealing, another magnesium-supporting option is a warm drink made with cacao powder, unsweetened cocoa, which also contains meaningful amounts of magnesium, along with compounds called theobromine and tryptophan that research suggests may support relaxation and sleep onset. A small cup of warm cocoa made with milk or oat milk, not the sweetened packet variety, but genuine unsweetened cacao, is something that feels indulgent while being genuinely nutritionally supportive. Now let me bring this all together in a way that connects to your actual life and routine. The drinks we've discussed today: warm milk, tart cherry juice, chamomile tea, golden milk, and warm water with blackstrap molasses or cacao, all work through different but complementary pathways. Tryptophan and melatonin support from milk and tart cherry juice, nervous system calming from chamomile's apigenin, anti-inflammatory support from turmeric and ginger, magnesium, and neurotransmitter regulation from molasses and cacao. You don't need to try all of them at once. In fact, the most useful approach is to pick one that appeals to you and try it consistently for 2 to 3 weeks before drawing any conclusions. Bedtime routines work through repetition and association. The body begins to recognize the ritual and responds to it. One warm drink, prepared the same way, at the same time each evening, becomes a signal to the nervous system that sleep is approaching. The timing matters. Research suggests that melatonin-related effects are best supported when the drink is consumed about 45 minutes to an hour before the intended sleep time. Drinking right before bed may mean you're waking for the bathroom rather than sleeping through. There are also a few things that research consistently finds supportive of better sleep in older adults. Things that work alongside any bedtime drink rather than instead of it. Keeping the bedroom cool and dark. Avoiding bright screen light for at least 30 minutes before bed. And ideally, longer. Having a consistent wake time, even on days when sleep was poor, to help anchor the body's internal clock. Gentle movement or a short walk during the day, which research finds significantly associated with better nighttime sleep in older adults, and limiting caffeine after early afternoon, including tea, which many older adults don't realize contains meaningful amounts of caffeine. If you're taking any medications, it's worth asking your pharmacist whether any of them might be affecting your sleep. Some blood pressure medications, diuretics, and other commonly prescribed drugs can interfere with sleep patterns, and sometimes adjusting the timing of a medication can make a meaningful difference. I want to close today with something that I feel genuinely, strongly about. Sleep is not a luxury. It's not indulgent. It's not something you can simply trade away for more waking hours without a cost. For older adults especially, whose bodies are already working harder to maintain the equilibrium that comes more easily in youth. Sleep is one of the most important health behaviors there is. Research has found that consistently, poor sleep in older adults is associated with increased risk of cognitive decline, reduced immune function, higher levels of inflammatory markers, and a range of other outcomes that nobody wants. You deserve to sleep well. Not as a reward for a productive day, not as something to be earned, but simply because you are a human being whose body needs rest, and because rest is part of the dignity of a life lived with care. I know it isn't always simple. I know that grief and pain and worry and the particular texture of 3 o'clock in the morning can make sleep feel very far away. I know that for some people, the night has become a difficult place rather than a restful one. And I want to say gently, if that is true for you, please talk to your doctor. You deserve real support, not just better bedtime habits. But for many people, a small warm ritual at the end of the day, a cup of something gentle, prepared and consumed with intention, can begin to shift the relationship with nighttime in a meaningful direction. It's a signal to your body, a small act of kindness toward yourself. And those small acts matter. If tonight you try one of the drinks we discussed, or if you already have a bedtime ritual that works for you and you'd like to share it, I'd genuinely love to hear about it in the comments. What helps you sleep? What doesn't? Your experiences are valuable here, and so many people in this community find comfort and ideas in what others share. If you have someone in your life who struggles with sleep, a partner who tosses and turns, a parent who mentions being tired every day, please share this with them. A conversation about sleep is sometimes the kindest thing we can offer someone we love. And if sleep is genuinely disrupting your quality of life, if the fatigue is affecting your mood, your memory, your ability to enjoy your days, please talk to your doctor. There are real effective options available, and you don't have to simply endure poor sleep because you assume it's just part of getting older. It doesn't have to be. Good night, sleep well, and take good care of yourselves.